Hello, Maverick fans. Welcome to another edition of the Mavpuckcast. I'm Jason.
And I'm John.
And we, again, have hockey to talk about. Thank God. We had a good series, long trip, but it turned out in our favor.
Yeah, long trip up there to Alaska. You know, I was listening to the webcast of those games. I think they said one of the nights it was 20 below in Alaska, and it's hard to believe in November. And I know it gets cold in Alaska, but it's hard to believe that already they're getting those frigid sub-zero temperatures up there.
But it didn't seem to cool off the Mavericks.
No, it certainly didn't. You never know how this is going to go. We'd already played Fairbanks back in October as part of our 10-game home stretch to start the season. And you assume that as a team, you're going to keep the momentum going. You're going to continue to do well. You swept them before. But like we talked about last week, you just don't know in these series, especially when you're going to Alaska, a place where over the years, when we were their travel partner in the CCHA, we struggled a bit. And it's a weird schedule. I don't know about you, but being up watching those games, I was exhausted. And I stay up late most of the time. And I was like, God, I just want this game to end so I can go to bed, because I'm trying to pay attention to it so we can talk about it here on the podcast. And I got to tell you, I faded several times. It was hard to keep awake. I tried looking at Twitter, doing everything else. But the first night, UNO got off to kind of a slow start, Jason. When you look at the scoring early on, obviously Tyler Weiss got things started off right. We've been impressed with him the last couple of weeks. This was our second series in a row on an Olympic-sized sheet. So it's probably beneficial to have the series at St. Cloud before we went to Alaska. But after the second period, it was 2-1 Alaska.
Yeah, and I remember, like it's always difficult when they start later in the evening. Like I remember being at the end of the first period going, "Is this over yet? Why are we third? No, it's still the first." I'm so confused. But I made it through. And I had said in the last podcast, right? Like my concern was, we should beat them. My concern was that Friday game. With you, I think there's some benefit that we just played on Olympic sheets and Seville wasn't in net. Roden played well in that last game in St. Cloud. And, I think it seems to suit him playing on the larger ice. He played well both games. So I was worried. I was really worried after the second, because more than anything, then it sounded like Alaska kind of really had some control, drove the play. They were kind of controlling what was happening in the second period.
But that third period turned out to be a really good period for the Mavericks. And freshman Cameron Berg, who's been hot lately, gets a power play goal, 4:32 into the third to tie the game up. And really it was all UNO from there.
I wish I could have seen them. They sounded good. Let's say that. So.
Yes, we will talk about this later, but I asked Jason if he was watching the game, and he's like, "No, I'm listening." And I'm like, "Dude, we need to increase the production budget of this podcast." Watch the game. Well, we'll talk about this more in our shootout segment, so we'll leave it for that. So Jason was going old school like we did in the early days of UNO hockey. Jason was listening on the radio, and since I'm the only one who saw it, I can say they looked fantastic, Jason.
Were you confident then going into Saturday?
I felt good, but you never know with these things, and certainly going into Saturday. Cameron Berg, who capped off the scoring on Friday night with a goal, gets us on the board early on, and it was a great period for UNO that first period. 3 goals, 2 of them on the power play.
They had such a good third period on Friday. To see them carry that over, capitalize on the long power play on that major. We've talked about it before. We've all kind of seen it. Teams, a lot of teams, even good teams, they struggle sometimes with those longer power plays. It's nice that they had some urgency, that they came out and they said, we've got an opportunity, we're going to take advantage of it.
And it was great to get out of the first period up 3-0. I felt good at that point. It did nothing to help my fatigue level. Late in the evening, I'm like, well, we got this. We're up 3-0.
We're in the bag. We're done. Yeah.
Just keep the clock rolling so we can move on to Thanksgiving. But yeah, I would say this: Alaska showed some signs of life in the second. They get a goal early on in the second, and at that point it's 3-1. I'm still not worried. I know people say that the 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey, but as far as I'm concerned, it's not. I love having a 2-goal lead or a 3-goal lead. I don't know if the 3-goal lead is the second most dangerous lead in college hockey.
Any lead is, I don't care if it's a dangerous lead or not, any lead's better than trailing. So
it gave them a little bit of hope going into the third period. Brock Bremer gets a power play goal at 3:12 in the third period. And at that point, 4-1, I was feeling pretty good. But at about the midpoint of the third period, Alaska gets another goal. It's 4-2 at that point. We got out of there with a 4-2 win. I'm happy. I don't know what your impression was from listening on the radio, but I've had to carry this, the visuals of this discussion, and I'm no help.
We know this won't work against an NCHC opponent. Like, I don't think that it's any mystery to the guys and stuff. They know just as well as we know. You start playing Denver and North Dakota and Duluth, or go back and play St. Cloud again and stuff. Even playing Carroll College in Miami, this kind of effort, this kind of play, you've got to finish things off. You've got to be a little bit more sharp. So, hopefully a little bit of a break, get a holiday in there and get back to work.
Hopefully get some of those injured guys back in the lineup, especially Isaiah Seville.
Since you've had to carry most of the load, I'm going to make you carry a little bit more. And I don't know. I'm not confident the pick that I pick is necessarily the easy one. So we'll see what you think since you got to actually watch it. I'm going to pick Cameron Berg, the NCHC Rookie of the Week, 3 points, 3 goals, we talked about him coming in. We need him to be a force. A lot of times you talk about and this is kind of the crazy thing about North Dakota and Denver have been known for this for a long time, right? They'll have a really good year and then they'll have a really bad year. And people will be like, well, why are we so bad this year? And it's those kinds of teams would draw in players that had short lifespans. They were high draft picks. They're not going to stick around in college for 4 years. UNO is the kind of club that we have to look at guys that are going to be here for a while. We're going to grow with the program and commit to the program. So you're always looking at who's the next guy? When Gensel left and Ortega left and Pope left, and you started looking at who's the next guy, right? What's the next one in the pipeline? And I think we're really looking to Cameron Berg to be that guy. We're looking for him to have a good, solid season this year that he can build upon and have a better season next year and kind of be the go-to guy in the future. And, it's nice to kind of see him produce. I think he really found some legs, and I really hope that, the effort that he put in and the work that he put in against Alaska this weekend will show up when we play Denver, when we play North Dakota and stuff, and he'll be just as productive and just as effective for us then.
He is number 2 on the team in goals, and he's number 6 on the team in overall points. So he's doing well early on. And the reason I had those stats was because I was going to pick him. But since this has just been the most difficult series discussion segment that we've had so far, I'm going to go with my second choice, which was Ty Mueller, who had another impressive weekend, and he had 2 goals on the weekend. The commentator on the UAF webcast kept referring to him as Tyler Mueller. I found out on Twitter that his name is just Ty Mueller. It's not Tyler. So as somebody who's named John, I understand that. My name is not short for Jonathan. It's John. So it was one of a series of just baffling names on the weekend. So yes, I would have picked Cameron Berg if Jason hadn't jumped in there. So I'm just glad that we're done talking about the Alaska series. I'm sure that the players are glad that they don't have to play Alaska anymore this year. Moving on to our shootout segments. So the webcast, which Jason did not buy, which I found during the game, Bridget offered to Venmo him some money because we're doing a podcast here. And I'm sure Jason would like to tell us why he wasn't watching the games. The games for Alaska Fairbanks were on Flow Sports, and that relationship originally developed when they were in the WCHA. They are currently a team without a conference. Every conference has kind of dumped the Alaska teams. And so if you want to sign up for Flow Sports, you can sign up for a year, which would be $12.50 a month, but you have to commit to a year. And I believe don't quote me on this. I believe you have to actually prepay for a year to get that $12.50 a month.
Yeah, you do. Mm-hmm.
So the other option is to pay for a month. Well, it's $30 to pay for a month. And if you're just watching 2 games, that's a lot for a lot of people. Now, I was fine with, I'm fine because I like to watch all the games, even if I have to pay the $30. Now you get a month of Flow Sports, which means you get the other hockey games and the other sports that are on Flow Sports. Not that I would necessarily watch any of those. I might actually watch some of the WCHA games because I'm interested in those teams too. But for most people who are just interested in the UNO games, that is a hefty price to pay. And I saw a number of people on Twitter who actually didn't subscribe to it. Number one, because of the cost, and number two, because the games were so late at night, they just weren't sure that they wanted to stay up and watch them. So Jason decided not to watch the game, so I'm going to have to scold him for the rest of the segment. But yes, go ahead, Jason.
Well, that, or we put the donate link out there, so then I don't know.
We're going to start a GoFundMe so Jason can watch.
GoFundMe so that I don't. It's a principle thing. Like, here's the thing. Like, I'll give you the whole rundown. I know this is supposed to be brevity and all that stuff, and okay. But still, like, okay. The problems that I had. So first off was that I couldn't exactly remember what the name of the Flow Sports was, right? Like, I knew it was something, and I was trying to come up with that. I couldn't come up with it. My first thought was, oh, easy thing. I'll just go to Alaska's website. I'll go to their thing. I'll click on the view thing, and it'll take me over to whatever the name of this stupid thing is, and I'll just buy it from there, right? So I clicked on the link, and it went to the pay site for Flow Sports, and it said that it was $40 a month. I'm like, you got to be kidding me! Like, every time I look at this thing, it goes higher and higher and higher. And for $40, like, that's like almost half a year of my ESPN, and I get everything that's on ESPN. And then I'm reading more in like the terms and conditions, and it says that most broadcasts are not on replay. And I'm thinking, well, this thing's, like you said, it's late at night. If I fall asleep, I'm going to want to go back and watch it. And at least as many problems as I have with NCHC Sports, because their app sucks and I always have problems with it, at least I can go back and watch it, even if it didn't broadcast live a lot of times when I can't watch a game because their app's broken or whatever. I don't trust this thing. I don't know who they are. It's $40 for me now instead of $30 because that's whatever link they had on their website. I can't watch it later. I'm just going like, I just don't feel like the price is comparable to what I get out of it. Like, I bit the bullet and I bought ESPN because it's got all the NHL games. It's got some college hockey games. It's got National Women's Hockey League games. And then the whole, like 30 for 30 things and some of their special stuff that I can kind of watch. So I'm like, yeah, I can get after that, right? And
the people watching and listening out there can understand now why I wanted to take the week off from doing this podcast. Okay, I need a break, and we'll be getting a break, so it'll be good. But you mentioned ESPN Plus, and I've been a subscriber to that longer than you have. $6.99 per month or $69.99 for a year. And the one thing that I'll say about ESPN Plus, number one, is if you like college hockey, they have all of the ECAC games, which those are the Ivy League teams that people are familiar with, but it's also got teams like Quinnipiac in there. And it's fun to watch those webcasts. And UNO's got a series coming up against St. Lawrence, which is in the ECAC. Right around the first of the year. So you will be able to watch that on ESPN Plus. In addition, some of the other games, like some of UNO's Summit League basketball games, for example, will be on ESPN Plus. And like you mentioned, I love the 30 for 30 documentaries. And now, this year, now that ESPN has the NHL contract, there are a lot of NHL games on there, and it's great to watch. You can pick either of the two broadcasts that are going on. So, for example, if the Bruins are playing the Predators, you can watch the Bruins broadcast or you can watch the Predators broadcast. It gives you a choice. It's terrific, and the video quality is terrific.
I would just love it, honestly, if they had one, like if there was one. I don't care, make it Flow Sports, right? Like, at least if you said, here's Flow Sports and here's every college hockey game, regardless of conference, every college hockey game's on this thing. at their current price at, what'd you say it was, like $140 a year or something if you buy the whole year?
I think it worked out off the top of my head to
I mean,
$12.50 per month.
I would see value in that because I watch a lot of college. I like watching college hockey. And that was my big thing is like, I can't do it for 2 games and that's it. And I don't think you'll ever get it because Big Ten gets so much revenue off of Big Ten Network and they're never going to go. I just don't see them ever going away from that. So college hockey is always going to be on Big Ten.
I'm just happy that we only have one more non-conference series so that I don't deal with Jason not watching it again in the future.
And it's on ESPN Plus, so you don't have to worry about that because I will be able to watch it.
Thank God you have ESPN Plus so you can watch it because I don't want to go through another game segment like that again. Shootout topic number 2 is our marketing idea. I will start off. My marketing idea is that I would love to have a points program for UNO hockey fans, a points card where they could earn points when they did things like buy concessions at the game or buy merchandise from the Lawlers stand at the games, consecutive years of having season tickets. I would love for them to have a card, and then those points could be used potentially on concessions or for apparel or tickets to other UNO sporting events, even just a lot of different things like that. I think that that would be a fun thing to do. I know that they kind of have priority points when you make donations to the One Fund. And certainly you could include donations to the One Fund in the point system. But I think it'd be great if you could earn points like for consecutive years as a season ticket holder. Those are the kind of points you could use for fun merchandise, concessions, etc. I know from the point of purchase at the arena, it probably would add work and hassle and technological issues and everything else. But I think it would be really cool if they did that.
They've got that changed concessions where you can scan the QR code and order online, pick up at the stand, right? So you would think that in this day and age, it wouldn't be that difficult to kind of start figuring out the metrics of some sort of reward points. I mean, it's not like it's a new technology, like Starbucks has had it for forever. Everyone has their, reward point systems, member point systems. And I use it for a lot of things where I'm like, I buy from this place on a regular basis. So I will sign up for their rewards programs because I'm going to buy this stuff anyways. Yeah. So I might as well get some value out of it. I think that's a good idea. I think that's something that they could do probably easier than maybe they think they can do it because there's plenty of places out there that can help them with it.
Yep. No, I would love to see a loyalty program like that. And I just think it would incentivize people to buy more concessions, to buy more merchandise, to buy tickets. So, yeah.
So my idea doesn't really relate to that at all. So I'm trying to think of a good way to transition to it. There is none because it doesn't relate to that. All right. So I was watching a Vancouver game this past week. And in the game, they had the green men. There's a couple guys. I don't know if I assume it's the same guys. I don't know. But they wear these all green suits and they sit right next to the penalty box and they annoy the players when they go to the penalty box and stuff. And they get on the Jumbotron and it's really kind of cool. And it goes to what we've talked about before about creating an atmosphere that is family friendly, but still enjoyable. Right. And I think of college hockey and the things that have always in my life have always kind of drawn me towards the sport. And it's that student commitment to the game. Like we've gone to Nebraska football games and they've got the student section, right? And it's packed because everyone wants to go, right? And then I go to a game at ours and I look down there, I'm like, it's even an NCHC foe and it's like half full of people. We've got to I think the university has to do a better job of getting students connected to the team, involved in the team. Their tickets are free anyways. When I was in college, our football stadium was a good distance away from campus. And I remember that for years they had a problem with it. And the student run organization on campus had decided, well, what we're going to do is we're going to rent one of the public transit buses and the university is going to pay to deck out the bus in Colorado State. That's where I went. In CSU logo stuff and sports stuff. And, they wrapped the bus every year and it's something new every year. And that was the bus that went nonstop from campus to the stadium, right? And I think it'd be kind of cool. It doesn't have to be very big, right? But to have a show up at this parking lot on Dodge, it'll stop in the village down there once. pick up kids that are there, even though, you can walk across the street. It's just, sometimes it's fun to be on the bus, right? It's a party bus, right? And make a couple of trips or something, but have that UNO bus that is the one that goes like to the game or something. Or parking at Baxter's so nice. I don't think they need to do this, but it would be fun to see like have that bus start at Crossroads, right? So you can park at Crossroads where the mall used to be, and jump on the party bus and kind of ride your way down. Like, I think those kinds of things that encourage people, that the atmosphere of hockey, the game isn't just what's in the arena, and the fun starts before that, I think would be helpful in getting people into the arena and packing that place out and making it a loud and fun environment.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that it would be kind of fun almost to have more of those like pregame tailgate type of things. And obviously, because it's a winter sport, you can't really do them outside. And there aren't any facilities at this point south of Center Street where Baxter Arena is, where they could have those kind of events. But it would be fun to almost have those pregame type pep rallies, and then everybody jumps on a bus or shuttle bus or a tram or something else that they might have that was really organized for that. Student involvement's one of those things that I think they need to keep working on. I know they have some new folks in charge of that now. And one of the things that I missed is the banner that they pull up for Unleash the Fury. It hasn't been there every game. So I'd like to see that more consistently happen. And I don't know if that falls on the students or who that falls on, but that's awesome when they pull that up right before the third period. So, but I think that's a great idea, Jason. Anything you can do to get students there, because students will show up for like the homecoming game and some of the other promotional nights, but it'd be nice to have them there consistently, because there's a lot of students at UNO, and we'd love to have more of them at the game because it really adds to the atmosphere.
They are a key piece. And if there's any students out there that are listening, I would rather see more students there than the rest of the arena filled. Like, I really feel like the energy kind of just builds from there.
Yep.
And I would just love to see more of them at the game. I really would.
I completely agree. So moving on to our next series, we have a little bit of a break, but December 3rd and 4th, we get Colorado College at home. Colorado College has had its struggles this season, but it's an NCHC foe, so you never know what's going to happen. As we saw with Miami, they are 0-3-1 in the NCHC this season, 2-7-3 overall. I will note that there's a former Mav on the roster, Noah Prokop, transferred there. What do you think about this series, Jason, going in?
I think it has a lot of interesting dynamics. I think Colorado College coming in, they're looking at, like you mentioned, the games that they lost, and they're saying we are supposed to lose those games, right? Like, it's the top two teams. A lot of people expected the top two teams in the conference. And, I think they're going to look to this series to say, if we want to not be a bottom dweller, this is our chance. Like, this is our chance to beat a ranked team, to prove that we're talented. I expect their best effort, and hopefully that helps us, because UNO has had some problems against teams that we should beat, and yet somehow, we don't. I don't think that Colorado College has the firepower that they've had in the past. Their identity is a little bit more defensive. It's getting to be a little bit more physical. But, they're riding a high in the season. They've got a new arena. There's a lot of things that are going well for Colorado College. I expect them to come in and give us a good challenge that weekend.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I hope we're up for the challenge. We got to be careful about not looking past Colorado College, because the week after we're at Western Michigan, and Western has been really hot. So we've got to focus at the task at hand. I'm actually going to pick a split this coming weekend against Colorado College. I'm going to say we lose Friday and win Saturday.
I'm going to say that we finally get over the hump and we sweep them, because we should sweep them and we're supposed to sweep them. And I think that the team knows from past years you can't give back points to NCHC teams now. And I think it helps that it's not Friday, Saturday after Thanksgiving. I think it gives us a chance to get healthy. I think we're going to come into that game healthier than you might think.
I like that prediction. I'm looking forward to enjoying that last series at Baxter Arena for 2021.
Absolutely. It'll be a good series.
We hope everybody enjoys Thanksgiving weekend. And until next time, go Mavs.
Happy Thanksgiving. Go Mavs.